Hey everyone, my name is Max, and today I wanted to debunk some of the myths that surround defense in Galaxy of Heroes and really shed some light on how important it can be to your roster and really how it can make the difference between winning and losing, getting more banners, things like that in all your matches here, and to really show why these mods and these stats are really being slept on throughout the community here. So to get going, let's just start with what defense is. So, like in this game, offense has two types of offense. You have physical damage and you have special damage. Likewise, your defense will be based off your armor or your resistance percentage. Armor is your defense percentage versus physical damage, and resistance is versus special damage. So these stats will only matter when these types of damages are being taken into. Now, both of these types of percentages are based off of a flat number. And I'm going to go ahead and put up a formula on the screen here. This is how you can calculate your defense flat number from this percentage here. And that flat number is what is being modified when you put defense mods or you have defense increases or decreases from uniques or status effects from the game. Now, that flat number, there's a much easier way to find this if you don't want to do the math. Sir Georges here has a really great calculator here. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description, as well as I'm going to be using it throughout this video as a way to figure out what your flat defense is, or if you wanted to do it in the reverse way, you can put in your flat defense and see what defense percentage that is. So now that we know what defense is, that's great. What does it really do, and why is it important? Why should I care about defense and defense percentage, or why should I mod my characters for defense? Well, I'll tell you here. So with defense, the way that it works or how it calculates in the game, you are in a battle, and let's just say the attacker on the opposing team goes to do damage against your character. Let's just say they are going to, after all the calculations have gone through, taking the offense stat, taking all the multipliers, taking the crit damage, they're going to hit you for 100,000 damage. That is the number that's going to come up. Now, what defense does is that armor percentage or the resistance percentage, depending on the type of damage, that percentage is going to reduce the amount of damage that you actually receive and what is taken out of your health and protection pool. So let's just say in this arbitrary example that they go to hit you for 100,000 damage and you have an armor percentage of 50%. So you will ignore 50% of that damage. So instead of receiving 100,000 damage, you are going to receive 50,000 damage. And the purpose of this video here and what I want to show to you guys is really how effective damage mitigation is when it comes to keeping your teams alive, maintaining important things like protection up, or various things like that. So to explain really where one of the biggest misconceptions about defense comes in is when you're taking in health and protection. I think the biggest thing that is done throughout the community is when it comes to modding a tank or modding a healer or someone who's going to be taking a lot of damage, the general thought is, well, if I want them to survive a long time, I want to give them as large of a health pool as possible so that they can absorb the most amount of damage. Well, that is a great idea, and that will work in certain comps against different teams or against other specific characters. Normally, defense is actually going to be a better way to go. So what I have on screen here is, unfortunately, I do not have the formula to figure this out. I'm sure that I can find it or you can find it, but I trust the person who made this. In fact, it is Bulldog. He was a former content creator for Galaxy of Heroes. I don't believe he is making videos anymore, but what this spreadsheet has here is it shows the effective health and protection for a character using defense mods. And I would actually say that more often than not, and I would actually say probably every time, defense is going to give you more health and protection due to damage mitigation than just modding for straight up health and protection. So the formula that goes into this is it takes into account the defense that you're going to be mitigating and adds that as additional health, so you can really see the benefits that you are getting from this. So on this spreadsheet here, I have the stats for a Relic 7 Fives. I would say Fives is one of the most common tanks that people have in the game, and he also has the highest based armor percentage in the game. So I figured if we're going to show the effects of defense, we might as well go with someone who has the best defense in the game, so you can see what you're getting from this. All right, so taking Fives into account, I pulled all of his stats from swgoh.gg just to see what we're going to be getting here in this spreadsheet. So what I have is a Relic 7 Fives, and so running through this spreadsheet, we have his base armor / resistance percentage. In this case, we are going to use his armor percentage. So we put 64.03. His base defense, which if you put it through the formula or if you run it through the calculator, it is 1,134.81. His base protection at Relic 7 is 60,493, and his base health is 57,696. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do was put him in, I would say, is a popular lineup that he's in, which is Shaak Ti with clones, the typical lineup being Shaak Ti, Echo, Rex, Fives, and Arc Trooper. They receive a 60% health increase and a 20% protection increase after adding up all the different clones that are in the lineup. And additionally, I'm not going to run it for these first calculations, but I can do it afterwards. Echo will also receive 100% defense when he is taunting due to his Domino Squad unique if Echo is present, but not everyone uses his taunt, so I will leave that out for this first set of calculations. So, taking this into account, when we run all the numbers, what we see here on the spreadsheet is his effective health and protection. This is adding his health and his protection all together and taking in the effective health that is gained from using defense mods. So on this chart, it is showing all the different primaries that you can put on while under a health set and then while under a defense set. And as you can clearly see, you are gaining much more effective health and protection if you were to mod for defense as if you were to mod for health or protection straight up. So if we are looking at a health set, if you were to mod for 3 health sets and let's just say 4 protection primaries, you are at effectively 822,562 health. We'll just round that and we'll call that, we're looking at about 820,000 effective health and protection. However, if you were to do the same thing but with defense sets, so 3 defensive sets and 4 protection primaries, you're looking at 1,048,908.97 effective health and protection. We'll just round that up. We're looking at about 1,050,000. You are gaining what's around here. We're just going to round for even numbers. 200,000 more health and protection due to defense mods. And that's a huge deal. That's something that's is the difference between winning and losing sometimes. If you're not able to get through Fives, these clones are going to be taking more turns. Rex is going to be getting off more Rexalates, or you'll be forced to go and force a sacrifice. So now that we've seen the effects of what defense can do for your roster, I would say specifically for your tanks, by boosting their effective health and protection due to damage mitigation, we have to ask ourselves, well, if this is so great, why aren't we using this everywhere? Why is this why am I making a video on this? Why does not many people use defense? Well, and I think to answer that question, it comes down to general modding versus specific modding. And I would say general modding, if you are just modding a character for getting the most bang for your buck, or you want something that is going to do well in against a variety of teams, defense is going to be the way to go for the reasons that I just showed you here, due to what you're going to get for the effective health and protection. However, when it comes to specific team comps, defense might not always be the way to go. If you were to take a team that does defense down or armor shred, that is going to be more effective against a character that is modded purely for defense as opposed to modding for health or modding for protection. So if you have a high armor percentage and someone goes and does armor shred and gives an armor shred or does defense down, that is going to have a greater effect than if someone who had a lower armor percentage, because you are taking 50% of that armor away. And 50% of a big number is a lot bigger than 50% of a smaller number. We've seen the opposite with offense mods. If you were to increase a high damage dealing character's offense by 50%, it's a lot more than someone who has a small offense rating. So maybe if you are modding for a specific comp that is using armor shred or applies defense down, you may want to stay away from using defense. Because you are going to be crippling your characters when those debuffs get applied. But if you're looking for a more general modding, or maybe for a character that you're just wanting to stay alive for longer, I would say defense is going to be better than modding for just straight up health and protection. All right, I appreciate everyone for sticking to the end of the video. I hope this sheds some light or maybe explains what defense is, how it's applicable, and really how it can be beneficial to modding your characters. Please feel free to use all the spreadsheets and the calculators that you see in the video, and make sure to go check out the different channels of the content creators who made these. Specifically when it comes to the spreadsheet, make sure to save a copy to your specific Google Drives accounts, just because the copy that is on the video, that is the master copy, so just make sure to download one just for your own personal use. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for coming and watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.